the month of September, and it feels like the year is gradually coming to an end. And just as we are gearing up to say Happy New Year, welcome 2025, there are so many stories that have been coming up on different angles. Over the weekend we got a lot of updates, but that's why we're here to always give you all of these details. And of course, you know that I would not be handling the show by myself. I got a very pretty lady in black sitting just beside me. Is it beside or opposite?
Opposite.
Opposite to me, yeah. Right. Good morning, Vivian.
Morning, Sarah. You look like sunshine. Yeah. That's the first time I've said that to somebody. Gosh, that's a good line.
I'm wondering where that even came from.
I think it's the color. The color of your dress is awesome. But how are you, though?
I'm very well. I'm good.
Awesome. You know, you said something about us drawing very close to the Yuletide. And what just went off in my head was very soon we'll start hearing Christmas carols.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but one of the things I'm looking forward to is to see that this particular Yuletide season, a lot of people still have the ability and the means to celebrate it.
Oh my God.
Considering the economic reality. So, you know, this is a period where people that are far from their families some of them get to travel to meet their families, to spend time together. People get to eat well. You know, it's all bubbly and fun. Yeah. And we hope that we would see that same thing happen this year.
You just touched on a nerve, I'm telling you. The means to celebrate Christmas this year will come from above. All right, on that note, I say good morning to you guys. Another beautiful edition of the Breakfast Cafe. And I won't forget, my name is Vivian Oguche. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll do banters and etiquettes like we normally do. Stay with us. Alright, so today we'll talk about overcoming procrastination. And you know, this requires a combination of understanding why you procrastinate, developing strategies to overcome it, and cultivating techniques to stay on track. It's just like overcoming inertia, I'm telling you, like when a plane tries to fly. You know, once it takes off, it takes off. Now, procrastination is the habit of delaying or putting off tasks or decisions, often leading to feelings of guilt, stress, and loss of productivity. Now, it involves intentionally postponing or avoiding tasks, despite knowing that it may lead to negative consequences. Sarah?
Right, you know, this is a very important topic we're talking on, and a lot of us actually struggle with procrastination. I've been guilty of this a couple of times. You know, you keep saying, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and you're moving the date forward. And eventually, you might not get to do it. Yeah. But let's see, procrastination can manifest in various ways, such as delaying the start of a task, failing to complete tasks on time, spending excessive time on non-essential activities. This is very common amongst us these days. You know, we have a lot of things to do, but would rather have a lot of important things to do, but sometimes we'd rather just while away time on our phone, social media, watching a movie, listening to music. Meanwhile, you have pressing things to talk about, right?
For example, sometimes it might not be pressing. For example, you need to do laundry on Saturday. You don't do it, you just lounge and laze around. And then Sunday morning when you need to go to church, you start rushing to do laundry.
Well, you see that one, sometimes you cannot blame us. Because Saturday is when you get to rest. Most times rest, if you can rest. You know, another thing is avoiding, one of the ways procrastination can manifest is avoiding tasks due to fear, anxiety, or perfectionism, getting bogged down in minor details, thereby losing focus on the main task.
All right, we've got strategies, right? We're going to be telling you how to overcome this. What do? Break down your tasks. Divide large tasks into smaller, manageable chunks. This works for me, I'm telling you, right? I do laundry. Let me use the example of laundry again. Instead of having it piled up, I do, you know, once I use, say, for 2 days or 3 days, just wash it off. Yeah, so it doesn't turn into a pile. 2, right? Set clear goals, establish specific, achievable goals, and deadlines, right? 3, create a schedule. Plan out your day, week, or month and stick to it. I agree. Also, number 4, use the Pomodoro technique. Now, what's this? Let's find out together. Work in focused 25-minute increments followed by a 5-minute break. This is something I've never done. I'll probably try.
Yeah, one can actually try it out and see how it works
All right, so we're still talking about the strategies, how to overcome procrastination. Number 5, eliminate distractions. This is key. Minimize multitasking, turn off notifications, and find a quiet workspace. One of the things I did recently was to turn off my Facebook notifications. Oh my gosh, it was like as if I took a weight off of my shoulder. Yeah, number 6, create accountability. Share your goals and progress with a friend or mentor. Number 7, reward yourself. Celebrate small victories along the way. Yes. And number 8, understand the 2-minute rule. If a task can be done in less than 2 minutes, do it immediately.
Very true. Let's quickly take a look at some of the techniques, in fighting this procrastination. The first one is mindfulness. Practice meditation and self-compassion to stay present and focused. Another one is self-talk. Encourage yourself with positive affirmations always. Don't talk down on yourself. Believe that you can do it. Visualization. Imagine yourself successfully completing tasks and achieving goals. Also, physical activity, regular exercise can also boost your motivation as well as your energy. Seek help. Consider therapy or counseling to address underlying issues. If you need to, seek help to deal with certain things, it's okay to consider therapy, speak to a counselor. If you cannot even, what people don't like to say is therapy is also expensive. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
To book a session. So even if you don't have the funds to book a session, you can, if you have a trusted friend or somebody that you can actually
use as a soundboard.
You can actually confide in them. Also, keep a journal. Track your progress, your thoughts, and your feelings to identify patterns. Practice self-forgiveness. That is, treat yourself with kindness when you make mistakes. Don't overbeat yourself up. Don't start calling yourself names because you made a mistake. Be kind to yourself and forgive yourself. Also, stay organized. Use tools like to-do list, calendars, and reminders to stay on track. It was so bad for me at a point that I had to set reminders even for phone calls because I realized I was starting to forget a lot of things. I wasn't meeting up with tasks. So as basic as, okay, you need to call this person, I set a reminder and I have to call. Oh, you have to send this message. I set the reminder. I used to do that before every Sunday, but now
Nigeria wahala. There's something you talked about, keeping journals. Now, I know we talked about it last week, Olumide and I, when we're doing, I think it was banter's etiquettes too. And we discussed that it wasn't something people really do in this part of the world, right? But it's something that I just recently began to do. And it's really very nice, keeping journals.
If you can keep up with it, why not?
Yeah.
Right. But remember, overcoming procrastination is a process that takes time, effort, and patience. Be gentle with yourself and don't give up. Like I said earlier, don't beat yourself too much. Don't forgive yourself. Don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Do things at your pace. If you feel like, oh, my friends are doing 5 things at once, and your capacity cannot handle 5 things at once, and your capacity can only handle 2 things at once, work within your capacity. There's no competition.
Absolutely.
Just be better for yourself. But that's it on our banters and etiquette segment this morning. We trust you learned 1 or 2 things in terms of overcoming procrastination. We'll take a break now. When we're back, we'll delve straight into the newspaper review segment. Do stay with us.
right, if you just joined us, this is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Sarah and moi, Vivian, are in the house. Now, this segment is where we're going to take a look at major headlines, right? Let's see. We begin with the Vanguard. Major headline here says, a petrol price hike. Of course, Nigerians at breaking point. NLC, Atiku 1. I got 4 riders to that story. I'm taking it all. NLC insists on reversal, urges citizens to revolt against hike. Wow, that's a big word, to revolt.
What's your definition of revolt? What exactly are you calling for? Asking citizens to revolt. Let's be specific, you know. Are you talking about a protest?
A revolution?
Are you calling for a revolution? Are you know, we need to understand as well that sometimes these words can be taken out of context and misinterpreted, and we know that some people from the last protest were just tried with treason, even when they were just protesters, you know. So we need to be able to define these words and understand the meaning of each of them while using them.
I agree. Let's take a look at the second rider now. It says that let's see, VAT, fuel price hikes will worsen Nigeria's cost of living crisis. Who's that coming from? It's coming from Atiku. Of course, he's been very vocal these days. Let's see this one here, the third rider. Complete refineries by September or sue contractors, Falana tells federal government. Last one, Serap calls for reversal of unlawful fuel price hike. Serap is also calling for a reversal. And if you look at another national daily, it says reverse the fuel price or risk prosecution. That's what I said, or risk legal actions.
Do you see the possibility of that coming to effect?
Yeah, Serap, when they say stuff, they do stuff. Another person who called for a reversal of the fuel price hike is Bishop Kuka. He's very vocal, and he's telling the president, see, Nigerians are suffering, guys. Do something.
It's in fact, the thing is, this period, at least over the weekend, I saw a couple of fuel stations that had fuel. They had, in fact, there were some that did not have queues. I think the NNPC stipulated price is about 855, right? That the NNPC fuel stations that had fuel had a number of people waiting to buy fuel because that's like the cheapest. But I know a particular fuel station that is selling at 925 naira per liter, which is very, very exorbitant.
Yeah,
you know. And this fuel station did not have fuel for months. But I tell you, the day the fuel price was increased, they started selling fuel that day. It says
so it was very deliberate.
It says a lot about how we also do things, you know, as individuals, individual organizations, independent people, and all of that. But this economic reality of the fuel price is taking a toll on everyone. In fact, I had to do a lot of exercise this weekend because if it's not far, I am not going to drive. Everybody is just trying to, you know, manage. And there are no vehicles, commercial vehicles. They are not. A lot of them are not on the roads. I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, there's no bus, there's no tricycle." Even ride-hailing vehicles, you struggle to get them when you're trying to order a ride, and the ones that you find, the rates are very high. But would you blame them? Getting fuel is also a big deal.
So in a nutshell, what you're saying is, on top of hunger, Nigerians are now stranded. They can't get to where they want to go.
Difficult.
Gosh, talk about adding fuel to fire. Well, above the masthead on the front page of the Vanguard, VAT, CIT revenue rises 85% to 6.44 trillion naira. Of course, why won't it rise? Have you heard that the federal government is saying it's no longer 7.5 but 10%?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Somebody said, is the federal government competing with God?
Wow.
Your tithe is 10%, right?
Wow.
All right, let's see what it's also saying on the front page of the Vanguard here. JAPA is the subtitle here. It says Canada's student enrollment drops 45% after new study visa cap. I'm sure there are lots of people who are going to be interested in that story. Just go straight to page 9. Below the middle strip, NDLEA intercepts consignments of cocaine, opioids in sanitary pads and hair creams. Gosh, talk about hiding stuff. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Last but not least, on the front page of the Vanguard, we have this one here. Sports related, Oluwafemi Ayo clinches second gold, shatters world record. The Paralympics, Nigerians are doing so well.
You know, I said it that if they could not make us proud during the Olympics, I think we're making a lot of wave for the Paralympics. And
congratulations to our very brave athletes who are doing Nigeria proud. On that note, we wrap it up on the front page of the Vanguard.
Right, let's quickly take a look at the Punch newspaper, but do not forget that you can be a part of the conversation. If you'd like to bring us up to speed with anything going on in your area, or you want to contribute to any of the stories on the front pages this morning, 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Straight to the Punch newspaper this morning, it also has the big read in regards to the petrol situation in the country. Marketers plan petrol import as NNPCL and Dangote's talks drag. Two riders to that story. Petrol dealers to meet Dangote over pricing, uncertainty over NNPC's September 15 PMS lifting. Second rider says Ipman laments as NNPC delays supply at depots. Pump price nears 1,250 naira in states. That's a page 2.
This is just like a Nollywood movie. So there's fuel now. Dangote has fuel to supply, but pricing is the problem.
Well, away from pricing, I also heard that NNPC have said they would lift by the 15th of September, which should be on Sunday, right? So fixing the price is now what we are going to be looking at. How much NNPCL will fix the price for petrol? Would it be at the rate that it is now, 855 naira? Would it be higher? Would it be lower?
Yeah, why should it be NNPC fixing the price? It is a deregulated market, in quote, right? So why is NNPCL fixing the price? Over the weekend, I read one of the national dailies carried the news that Dangote might be looking to foreign customers. He might ditch the local market because of pricing.
Well, we'll see how that pans out eventually. But you get all of these details on page 2, Punch newspaper. Just above the masthead, we have this one that says, strike, ASU and government panel to meet on Wednesday. This is in regards to the planned industrial action. You know, ASU has been on the news for a couple of weeks now, threatening to embark on a strike.
Yeah.
We hope that they'll be able to manage the situation and students don't have to sit at home again. Some of us had to experience it and it wasn't great. But you get details, page 8, Punch newspaper. Just beside that, Group sues Lagos over $1 million Dangote land deal. So page 6 read, you have all the details there. 4 billion naira illegal arms. Rather, $100 million Dangote land deal. That's the story I just took. But just beside that, 4 billion naira illegal arms. 10 charged with terrorism. That's on page 8. You can see the picture of Agbemi there. Talking about the Edo governorship polls, Obaseki's ego caused rift with Oshiomhole. That's according to the APC. It's a page 40 read. Group urges Eshon people, I hope I pronounced that correctly, to unite for Ighodalo. That's on page 40. Moving on from that story, there's a pictorial representation here. 48 passengers, 50 cows killed in Niger tanker fire. It's a gory scene here. I must say, you know, 48 passengers, that's a lot, and 50 cows, you know. But it's on pages 4 and 5. You get all of the details. Over 1,000 soldiers resigned from army in 4 years. That's according to a report. It's on page 40. Beside that story, Europe-bound cocaine consignment intercepted in sanitary pads. Vivian took that as well on the Vanguard newspaper, but page 5 of the Punch has the details. And lastly, Articles 8, Labour Party, NNPP differ on merger plan. That's on page 42. You know, there have been talks about Labour Party, People's Democratic Party, NNPP, forming a merger against the ruling party come 2027. There's been a lot of bickering and uncertainty in regards to that. And just this morning, we're saying that Articles 8, Labour Party, NNPP differ on the proposed merger plan.
No wonder Kwankwaso is saying that he's going to win the presidency in 2027.
Well, yeah.
He said the PDP is dead. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah. I was telling Olumide the other day, so if this merger comes to life, who would be the forerunner?
That's the thing.
But that's it on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the Daily Trust on the front page. Major headline is a gloomy one. Let me just warn you straight up. 48 people, 50 cows killed in Niger road accident. Just one rider to that story. Residents blame speed and bad road. Now you see the pictures there depicting the very gory sight. Well, below that we have 196 soldiers resigned to proceed on terminal leave on the 1st of November. Right below that one, kidnapped Bruno judge regains freedom after 2 months, thank God. This other one says deaths by air pollution more than those of malaria, HIV. This is coming from the minister. I guess that's coming from Minister of Health. Let's find out. You want to dig in? Well, just go straight to page 34. Yeah. All right. Below that we have this one here. We are owed 30 months allowances. Border security personnel cry out. Imagine this.
30 months.
Yes.
That's almost 2 years.
That's
2.5.
That's over 2 years.
That I want to say that's almost 3 years. That's 2.5 years. Because 2.5 years. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And these people still go to work.
And they are supposed to be security agents manning the borders.
So when we now hear cases of accepting, they are trying to request bribes.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraged. It's bad, right? But I think on the part of the government, they also have a part to play. You can't owe people for 30 months, and how do you expect them to keep up with their family sustaining themselves, especially with this current economic reality?
Telling you. All right, let's see what this other story said. Oh, that particular story we just talked about got a number of riders. Let's see if we're going to take that. Now, these people who are being owed, they are decrying overstay at stations. Second rider says, we are reviewing the process. This is coming from Customs. All right, OD from Cross River State. Thank you so much for calling. Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning,
OD.
We have been seeing the front pages of the newspapers and all that. We blame it on the bad government, not just Tinubu's government, but the whole government since I was born that they've been. Because right now I don't even watch our Nigerian news again because they are not. There's nothing going on. They just wear agbada and suits and they just tell us they have released billions of naira to youth empowerment, this and that, and nothing is working. Nothing is actually working. So I don't know whether you guys are in the media who will help us because Tinubu is doing nothing to help.
All right, OD, thank you so much. That was OD from Cross River. He sounded so low. That's the mood right now. If you go to the street, feel the pulse of people, they probably will sound like OD.
Actually.
Oh, gosh. Thank you for calling in. Keep the calls coming, yeah? So I was taking a rider to that particular story. We talked about border security personnel crying out for being owed 30 months allowances. Customs says they are reviewing the process, and then the last rider said ad hoc arrangement over. Now let's be very, very clear on this. It didn't say salaries. It didn't say 30 months salaries. It said 30 months allowances. I just wanted us to be very clear on that. Now above the middle strip, let's see now. OPay Money Point users kick as federal government imposes electronic levy.
Yeah, I think
15
naira over every 10,000 naira transaction that you make now. Yeah, so I got that update over the weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other story here says banks colluding with states to bypass fiscal law. That's coming from the FRC. Last but not least, on the front page of the Daily Trust, we spend 30,000 naira daily to feed our new babies. This is coming from a father. Let's see where you can get details of that. Just dig in, right? Because it's not very clear here. But you find this story.
9 new babies.
9 new babies. Yeah. And they spend 30,000 naira daily. Imagine in this economic climate. Oh my God, God help the family. And that wraps it up for us on the front page of the Daily Trust.
We move very quickly to the Guardian newspaper, and this has the major caption, back to school. Parents groan as fares spike by over 70% amid dropout concerns. I've seen a lot of parents go and wash their children's school bags, fix their children's sandals, because they usually buy new pairs for them every term. But this time around, a lot of parents are starting to, if it's not that bad,
yeah,
we would use it again, because purchasing these things now, the prices have gone up so much. But
I think some state governors are postponing resumption.
Yeah, but some are resuming today. Some schools are resuming. Some schools in Lagos are resuming today. Some are resuming next week. Some resumed last week. They just have very different calendars, but most of them are resuming today.
Okay.
All right, we get details on page 6. Away from that story, Atiku Huriwa flagged Tinubu's plan to raise value-added tax, warns of devastating consequences. It's on news page 3. Ajayi Edema child Aida Tiwa over appointment of 344 SSAs and SAs amid economic hardship. That's of news page 7. But we'll hold our thoughts there as we have Odi from Cross River back on the line. Thank you for calling us again, Odi.
Yes, I was asking, I said this minister, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay, the minister for poverty, humanitarian stuff and all that, that woman, I've forgotten her name, Edu. I don't know, what's the problem? What is really happening?
She's still on suspension.
Still functioning.
There's an investigation ongoing.
This is the time we need. This is the time we need that ministry to work, because there are many Nigerians who are suffering right now because maybe one. So I don't understand what Tinubu is doing. If she is suspended, another person should take up the seat, because this is the time we need the ministries to be functioning.
Right.
So
thank you.
I think this is something. There's something fishy.
Okay, thank you.
I don't understand what is happening to this our government.
Thank you, Odi, for your thoughts.
You guys, please just help us. I think you're in Lagos. You guys are in Lagos, right?
Yes, we are.
And Jagaba has a house in Lagos. Please try to reach.
Thank you so much for your thoughts, Odi. It's important to
Thank you, Odi.
Thank you. It made a valid point. Maybe somebody in the interim, maybe somebody needs to manage that ministry whilst whatever investigation or what have you is ongoing, so that it is still functioning. But let's quickly finish the Guardian newspaper this morning. Our time is fast spent. Tanker explosion claims 48 lives, 50 cattle in Niger State. That's on Metro page 8. NAFDAC warns against miracle product of faith-based organization. A number of us know where this is coming from, so we'll get into the details. It's a page 29 read. NLC vows to tackle graft fiscal indiscipline by politicians. That's on page 3. POS operators insist on court ruling amid CAC threats. That's a page 3 read as well. Nigerians not enjoying benefits of more allocations to state. You want to get who said that? It's on page 30. And lastly, reverse petrol pump price. Serap and APC chief tell Tinubu. That's on page 5. That wraps it up on the front pages of the newspapers this morning. We'll take a break. When we're back, we'll be having a conversation with our guest to analyze some of these headlines. So stay with us.
Byzantine, Byzantine, Byzantine.
Welcome back. This is a second part of the newspaper review segment. In a short while, we're going to be joined by a guest analyst, Adeni Ifetayo, who is a friend of their house. Of course, is a media analyst. But in the meantime, though, our friend Odi from Cross River State had asked who is standing in as regards, affairs related to the humanitarian ministry. Let's see now. The minister is on suspension, better edu, while investigations are ongoing. In the meantime, Abel Olumuyiwa Enito, who is the permanent secretary, I guess, is in charge of affairs. Just to answer your question, Odi. Now, let's go back to the front page of the Punch. One of the stories Sarah took was this one. Over 1,000 soldiers resigned from army in 4 years. That's a report, right? Page 40 has the details. But Sarah, 1,000 soldiers in 4 years.
I'm even trying to get the full read of the story, so that we have a proper understanding if there were certain reasons that were stated as to their resignation and all of that.
While you're trying to get the full read, we also have the same story on the front page of the Daily Trust, and it says 196 soldiers resign to proceed on terminal leave on the 1st of November. Now, aside the 1,000 that resigned in 4 years, we have 196 soldiers who are going to be resigning and to proceed on terminal leave by the 1st of November. Let's see, Sarah's got the full read now.
I'm still looking for it, but as soon as I find it, I would definitely, do well to read it. But one story that gets my attention, it started trending last week, where the federal government talked about the sale of bag of rice at 40,000 naira, but only to those who have their NIN. And that sparked a lot of reaction.
What a strategy
from Nigerians. And going on social media, you can see a lot of Nigerians lamenting. We're talking about hardship, rice. There was a video that was made in that regard. Insecurity, rice. Unemployment, rice. Banditry, rice. Fuel hike, rice. Like
rice is the solution to everything.
Rice is and in fact, this rice they're even talking about is not as though it's accessible.
Now you're saying if you don't have NIN, you can't get the rice.
Yes. Even those that have NIN, how many of them get them? We saw what happened I was not at Yaba. I think it was at Yaba, a customs office, where they said they were going to be selling rice for 10,000 naira, and you come with your NIN as well. It led to a stampede. Yeah. People got injured, you know. So even when we are saying this rice, everything rice, this one rice, that one rice, how many people actually access this rice? And we need to understand that rice is not our problem, you know. So if at every little opportunity Nigerians are airing their concerns, you just throw one thing of rice. Earlier it was about they said those that were in the civil service were the ones that could access it. Now it's NIN. But now, the headline on the Punch newspaper puts it this way: Nigerians struggle to access 40,000 naira rice sales point. So you're even giving us 40,000 naira. It's okay now. And now struggling to access it again. A brief read says Nigerians in the Federal Capital Territory, which is Abuja, are struggling to locate the sales point for the 40,000 naira subsidized rice that was officially launched by the federal government last week. The launch, which took place on the 5th of September, which was on Thursday, saw the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, flagging off the sale of 30,000 metric tons of milled rice at a subsidized rate of 40,000 naira per 50 kg bag. Now, speaking at the launch, Kyari revealed that the initiative was driven by the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to ensuring that Nigerians do not go to bed hungry. He acknowledged the various challenges that contributed to the high cost of food in the country, including the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, climate change, and local economic factors. Now, the question the president and the minister or any other person should ask themselves is, how many people can even afford this 40,000 naira?
That's the thing.
With the economic situation.
And then, if considering the fact that the value-added tax has just been raised to 10%.
It's on that question is why I'll bring in our guest this morning in person of Adeniyi Ifetayo, who is a media analyst, a friend of the house. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Adeniyi Ifetayo.
Hello.
Are you there?
Okay, now I can hear you.
All right.
I can't hear you, so I can hear you now.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Right. Are you still in Kigali?
Still honeymooning?
No. If you can stretch your neck and look back, you will see me right there in diaspora. I'm in Moe, life in Moe.
Jim actually turned back to see if I could see you back.
All right.
I saw that. I noticed that.
Right. Thank you for joining us. You know, just before you came in, Vivian and I were talking about this whole federal government throwing rice, if I could use that word, at Nigerians at every slight opportunity. Just last week, we got an update about how they rolled out rice, 50 kg bags of rice, that's 40,000 naira to Nigerians with NIN. And Nigerians are even struggling to access the sale point. Let's get your reaction to this frequent rice thingy, if I could use it that way, because it really trended on social media, and a lot of people feel like that is not the solution to our cry, that is not the solution to our problems. And sometimes even this rice they are talking about is not easily accessible, and it doesn't even get to 20% of Nigerians. Let's just get your perspective on that before we move on to other headlines.
Yeah, until we get our database correct, until we get it right, that's when we can get or solve these frequent, the way of reaching the local. When I mean the locals, of reaching the grassroots. We have 774 local government in Nigeria as at today, recognized by the Constitution. And I think distributing, if you have any palliative or any things you want to get to the grassroots, I think that one should be in place. And the issue of crisscrossing of from some states, for example, now so many people they live in Ogun State, but they work in Lagos State. So many, all those, if you have data analysis, you have data, getting this thing is not a rocket science. And of course, when you are talking about 6 points, there's no 6 points better than the local government where an individual resides, where you can easily know how many people, and of course, it's not all the people that pay their taxes. I was a part of a group, and my friend, I just said, let's do a social experiment. That put it there in the group that Lagos State government wants to release a kind of palliative. You must access it if you are paying your tax. So please kindly signify if you are paying your tax in the last 3 years, or if you are paid last year, or if you are up to date. Do you know we're just out of about 34? We're just about 2 who are up to date. So those are the things that they can use. In fact, they will even get it. It will make things easier for them. It will be very hard for people to exploit. It will be very hard for politicians.
Okay, I think there's a network challenge, so definitely do well to have Adeniyi Ifetayo join us again.
So it's from what he's saying. Well, eventually we'll have him, and then I'll let him land. But it looks like he's saying this is how the federal government can get Nigerians who are paying taxes to get subsidized goods, right? So does this mean he likes the plan of the federal government to sell rice at 40,000 to only Nigerians who have the NIN?
Well, I think we can just get that thought from him. But it's not, I'm not against Nigeria federal government selling rice at subsidized rate. The problem is that every little challenge, that's what they throw at us. But I think Adeniyi Ifetayo is back on the line. Thank you for joining us again.
Yes, thank you. I can hear you now. I think the thing went off the other time. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's only people who have the NIN, or the only people should have access whatever that is product or rice that the federal government wants to do. So I'm just saying that might solve about 70 to 80% of their problem, so that the whole process will not be exploited.
Could you hold your
So that's what
Adeniyi, just hold your thought, please. Don't forget, I'll come back to you. But let's quickly take Ola from Lagos. Ola, such a pleasure to have you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Just a take on what he said.
Ola, can you kindly project so we can hear you clearly?
Okay, that's it now.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just to take on what he's saying about federal government selling rice. It's not something I believe it will work. I'm sorry to say that. Why? Because I've been in a position whereby these things have been taken to the nearest local government. And when you get there, they'll tell you it is being politically arranged. Money. They'll tell you you have this, you have this, you have that. Series of excuses. Now, if people really need this food, don't even get it. Let's do the local government.
Ola, we can barely hear you. We can barely.
So if you can call us back.
And I'm so interested in what you're saying, right? Could you call back? And let us know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
All right.
But I think Ola was explaining the challenges he's faced when he,
has to go through local government.
When he goes to the local government to access subsidized goods. But let's go back to Adeniyi. Perhaps Adeniyi heard Ola clearly. Did you?
Yes. I heard what he was trying to say, that when you get to this local government, they will say they've had the list from a politician that this one is for party and all of that. That's what I'm just saying, yes, we do have these challenges. Anytime government want to roll out a plan, that most of the time the politician will hijack it, and they will say go and bring list. Some they will take it to their house. We've had a case that they released palliative and ended up in the backyard of some politician or who are using it or waiting to the period of election, depending on the duration of that what they call palliative could last. So that's what I'm saying, that once we have our database, and our government shouldn't be, because this one belongs to my party, when we are sharing palliative, let it, and the government too should be transparent about the whole thing. We have released 30 trailer to so local government. If you live in that area, they have your number. They know how many communities, they know how many houses that are in that area. Go to the place, register your name with your NIN or whatever, and collect it. You understand what I'm saying? There's a way when they want to get part of our security right. There's a way when they mandate everybody that you must register your SIM. So maybe by December, and we can see, it's just a pity that you are doing the same thing and you expect different results. It's not possible. So I think it is high time the federal government, who is the championing the whole subsidy or palliative, so to say, they should make sure that it gets database of every local government, how many houses, how many buildings, how many people living in your local government, people that reside there. They should know how many people that work, they don't reside in that place. So those are the things. Data is still missing. If we don't get our data right, no matter whatever we want to do. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying government that is only people that pay tax. I'm just saying it will also aid payment of taxes. Okay. So once they know that now government is serious about data, it's just that's what is obtainable, overseas. You can't beat the system. Once you clock it in, they know that, this person has accessed this. You clock it in, this person has accessed this, and they know how many people that have not come forward to get their stuff. So it's just the same thing. Absolutely. It's not like if you want to board a flight to anywhere, if you don't have your ticket, you are not going anywhere. If you don't pay for your ticket, you are not getting your boarding pass. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I agree with you perfectly, and thank you for the clarification. This thing about data cannot be overemphasized. I mean, when you talk about ghost workers, why do you have that kind of problem? Yes. It's because you don't have data, accurate data. You said something about transparency. In the bid to cushion the effects of the harsh economic realities, the federal government has pumped lots of money to state governments and, of course, local government areas. So it behoves on the state government to find out what the local government areas are doing, just so we know where these monies are being pumped into. Now, let me bring your attention to this other story on the front page of the Vanguard. It says, just above the masthead, it says VAT, value-added tax, CIT revenue rises 85% to 6.44 trillion naira. Now, we had a guest on our sister channel, High Impact 102.1 FM, who said that this thing about, increment in tax is the federal government smiling to the banks. Now, they're bringing more revenue, but Nigerians are suffering. Let me have your take on the VAT that's been increased to 10%. Do you think Nigeria is being run like a business?
In fact, it is more like a business. Now, even if you want to tell me that there's a need for you to get more money, but show me what you have used the one you have had in the past. Show me what you have used it for. You understand? The government needs, yes, they need funds to run the state. But in the last 1 month, I kept on saying that if I were to be the president, at least I'll be giving media talks maybe once in a quarter. In the last 3 months, this is what we have generated from custom. In the last 3 months, this is what we have generated through value-added tax. In the last 3 months, this is what we have generated from this. And out of all this money, 200 billion, was set aside to set up our whether foreign or domestic loan. So amount was released. Were released to state government and local government. So people will begin to ask questions. You can ask them, what do they use it for? We can't tell a family we can't tell head of a family how to run his own house. But sometimes children can ask questions. Daddy, how are we doing this? How are we doing that? So if government is being, I still mentioned the word transparency. If you don't have anything to hide, before you can say, we need more money, come up with more taxes or value-added taxes, it's not good initiative. It's not even coming up at the right time. I think this should be left maybe toward the end of the year, maybe 6 months to the end of the tenure, that look, I will have, this is what I've done in the last 3.5 years. I could have, done much more if I had more resources. But going forward, I want to increase it, but not the time that people are crying for so much hardship in the land or in the country, and you are increasing the pain. Forget about the fact that yet it might be easy for some people to pay this value-added tax, but some people whose their take-home cannot even take them to the last bus stop of their houses or their home, and you are still, looking for means to take much more from them. So I think they can still look into it and be sincere and reverse it, or postpone it and say, let's set it aside. It will come up much more later when things are stabilized.
Right. Tell me about bad timing.
Yeah.
It's just as though they didn't look into the needs of the situation of things before ruling out certain decisions. But that's a safe place to land. Adeni Ifetayo, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for sharing your thoughts with us on some of the stories on the papers this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Transparency. We discussed transparency. I don't know if it was myself and Olumide, but we talked about transparency sometime, was it last week or last 2 weeks? Transparency in governance, how important and how critical it is. And one of the major problems we have is, what's the word now? Help me out. This case, just like what Odi said when was it Odi? No, the second caller, Ola from Lagos, the problems you encounter when you want to access some of these things. There are people that will sort of make the whole process bottlenecks. Yeah. So until we get to that point where we can absolutely eradicate things like this, I think we'll see some sort of relief as well as Nigerians.
I agree. I mean, I don't have anything to add to that. But this is where we wrap this up, segment, newspaper review segment. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we will do Views from the Net, a very, very interactive session. Stay with us.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, "What a ride." High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea? Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
This season on The Muse. Retinue. We walked the halls of creativity.
You know, people always judge by appearances.
Traveled through books.
As I pay for my pounded yam and 4 euro with goat meat stew and 1 king size ogufe, now to chop the food remain.
We made art.
What? Oh my God!
And danced with the muses.
Oh, this here ends with EY.
Catch new episodes of The Muse on High Impact Television. Securing the future.
Well, if you just joined us, it's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. My girl Sarah and I, Vivian, in the house. Now, this segment is called Views from the Net. We get to throw out questions, you know, to the internet, and then we have you make your contributions. And this is what we asked. How has the economic situation in Nigeria, of course, affected your personal finances and budget? Trust me, we had loads of comments. Now, Sarah? You want to go first?
Vivian, you want to go first? You want to go first? Go first. Come on, tell us how.
All right. Yeah, let's see now. So far, so good. I'm here. I'm breathing. I'm smiling. I'm happy. Hey, life goes on. Where there is life, there's hope. Now, I'll come back to Sarah, but first, let's find out what Sylvanus from Ekpa is saying. The economic situation has forced me to re-evaluate my spending habits and prioritize essential expenses over discretionary spending. I've had to cut back on non-essential expenses like dining out and subscription services. Sylvanus from Ekpa. You see, Sylvanus has had to cut down on subscription services. I'm sure lots of people are doing that.
Absolutely. But let's see Kayode from Lagos. Kayode says, I've had to take on a side hustle to supplement my income and make ends meet due to the economic situation. This has been challenging, but it's also taught me valuable skills and helped me diversify my income streams. Very true. If you can, take on other sources of income that can make you more money. But you can also be a part of the conversation. You know, you want to tell us how this economic situation has affected your budgeting and finances. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call.
All right, Jane from Abuja says, the economic situation has affected my ability to save for my long-term goals, that is starting a business. Everything I wrote down is more than what I bargained for, and I realize if I don't want to run into debt, I have to hold on for now and work on something realistic. I've had to adjust my budget and prioritize short-term needs over long-term goals. Wow, that's wisdom.
Very, very good one there. Well, let's see Chika from Lagos. Chika says, I've had to rely on my emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses due to economic uncertainty. This has taught me the importance of having a cushion in case of unexpected event. I've spent all my savings on transportation and food. Every last penny is being used these days now. I can only imagine that, you know, when people say their savings is what is saving them now, where's the lie? It couldn't be more true. A lot of people, you know, their salaries can't even cover their bills and transportation. So let's even say their bills, electricity bill, water bill, subscription, internet. If there's something I could actually cut out right now, it will be internet, because the rate at which I am subscribing, it's a chokehold. You know, a lot of people, once they sort out these basic things, they have nothing left again. So the monies they've been saving for a while, they have to dip their hands into it just to hold through.
Yeah, but Chika struck a nerve, I'm telling you. Listen to his last statement. He said, every last penny is being used these days now. And trust me, Chika is not the only one in this boat. I can tell you, lots of Nigerians are singing the same song. It's very unfortunate. We do hope the tide turns though. But let's find out what John from Yabatech is saying. He says, the economic situation has made it challenging for me to plan for the future. As I'm unsure of what the economy will look like in the coming years, I've had to focus on short-term goals and adapt to changing circumstances. This is John from Yabatech. You know, in the past, you have life coaches tell you, prepare, you know, for the future, do long-term, set long-term goals. But Nigerians, it's not just John. Someone said it before John, that now no long-term goals.
Just short term.
They just even want to survive. They just want to survive from today to tomorrow.
Very true. But let's see Michael from Lagos. Michael says, I've had to adjust my budget to accommodate increased cost of living, such as higher rent and food prices. This has required me to be more mindful of my spending and find ways to reduce expenses. It's not easy, but I'm trying to cut all costs. It is absolutely not easy. A lot of people are drained. A lot of people are drained, especially people that have families, you know, a spouse, children. Children have resumed back to school now, and school fees, all these things, it is exhausting. Cost of living keeps rising, but our salary is actually increasing.
That's the thing. The salaries should be commensurate, yeah, so that Nigerians are able to survive.
To feel some sort of relief.
Sukkah, I'm telling you, you know, oh gosh, that's a different kettle of fish. It's a topic we should discuss some other time. But I got Queen from Great Yabatech, and Queen says the economic situation has affected my ability to support my family and loved ones, which is a significant source of stress for me. I can relate. And then she says, I've had to find ways to reduce expenses and increase income to ensure I can support those who depend on me. Sometimes it is hard to help others because this moment is crucial for everyone, except you want to give others money and you later suffer for it. If you can't get money to fend for yourself, it's actually not easy right now to take care of yourself and others. Had to cut some things for the moment. That again, that's Queen from Great Yabatech.
You know, Queen's comment will just make me say this. I understand that a lot of us have people that depend on us. A lot of us have people that look up to us. But I would also like to say that we are all in this country and we all see what is happening. So if someone, your friend or what have you, cannot come true for you at this point in time, not because they don't want to, but because they don't have the means to, I just think that you need to understand and not take it out on them.
Yeah, but the point where Queen is coming from, which is what I understand very well, is that
she can't support her family as much as she
used to. It is a major stressor.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, for example, you have a sibling who doesn't have a job, unfortunately.
Or is still in school.
Or is still in school, and is suddenly dependent on you.
And you are the breadwinner for the family.
What do you do? It's
oh
gosh, I don't even want to go there.
I get that. I get that, but I'm also saying that there are people that, you know, they might just be your friends, and maybe they used to assist you one way or the other, 2K today, 5K tomorrow, you know, and you reach out to them this period, and they genuinely cannot help you, not because they don't want to. It's okay to actually understand that everybody's just trying to stay afloat this period. They have priorities, and their family would be on that priority list. So it's important to not pick a fight
with someone who is unable
to help you right now, because it's cold outside, if I can use that word. But let's see Lanre from Egbeda. Lanre says, I've had to find ways to reduce my expenses, such as cooking at home instead of eating out, and managing my data. No more staying on the internet from morning till night. This has required me to be more intentional with my spending and find free or low cost alternatives. You know, this thing about cooking at home, not eating out, very, very true. But sometimes people say, especially if you're staying alone, some people believe that eating out is actually less expensive than cooking. But I beg to differ, because if you're going to eat out 3 times a day, even if you are doing 2 times a day, you would not spend, in this current economy, let's even say 4K. But if you take that 4K and you make concussion in quote. Yes, now you make concussion.
Do you want to give us an example of what you call concussion?
Tomato paste, oil, grounded pepper, Maggi, salt, onions, put it together, let it boil, put your rice or your spaghetti, boil your egg on it or something, you know. But let's quickly take this comment. We have this comment on Facebook, and this is from Babatunde. This one says, Omo, this economic situation has really affected my pockets. Now Babatunde cracks us up here. Babatunde says, I dey even consider finding a sugar mommy for support. May God help us. This is Babatunde. Finding sugar mommy is not the way out.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not the way out. So please look for other sources of income to support yourself. You know, try to cut down on your spending. Whatever is not important, do not do it. So sugar mommy is not the solution to this situation, Babatunde.
I agree. That's if sugar mommy is not even crying herself.
Exactly. You never can tell. The sugar might not be sugary again.
I'm telling you. Well, Sarah took Lanre from Egbeda, right? Well, I've got Dre from Unilag, and Dre says the economic situation has made it challenging for me to achieve my financial goals, such as saving for a down payment on my house rent. I've had to adjust my timeline and find alternative ways to achieve this. Squatting with a friend can be so annoying sometimes, but as the economy is so tight, there's nothing that can be done. The economy is biting everyone so hard right now, and salary isn't even doing justice to all our needs. Sigh. That's Dre from Unilag. Dre ends all of this with a sigh.
The number of times I sigh
in a day
these days, I can't count it, you know, because
you know, he echoed exactly what you said about salaries not being commensurate.
And the thing is, this is the period where some things will just decide to start spoiling. Your phone charger will just spoil. One socket in your house will just go bad. One thing will just happen. Your fan might just go bad. You have to, no. If you check it, you see that these things happen is when there's really no money. These basic things.
And you're like, God, why?
You see this, the one that is eating me up is data. Someone made a comment about it. I legit feel like maybe the network I'm using, maybe we are sharing data with some of their staff members, because it's appalling.
Yeah.
You know, you have to subscribe, you do a lot of data, you are doing like 20 gig you are not a content creator, you are not a YouTuber or whatever, and in a week they're telling you you've exhausted 20. How? Why? What? How? Like from where to where? You know, you're just, for someone that is just a light internet user, it's exhausting. And by the time you see that every month and you calculate how much you've spent on data, no jokes, data takes more than 10% of monthly income, data alone. So by the time you start to wait, be like, if it's not necessary, please, if you need to turn off your data, turn it off. If you cannot reach me on normal call or whatever, I've shut down for the day. You know, but it's just a sad reality that we have here. But let's take this next comment. This is you took Grace.
I took Dre.
Okay. This is Grace from Lagos, and Grace says, I've had to diversify my income streams to reduce my reliance on a single source of income due to the economic uncertainty. This has taught me the importance of having multiple streams of income and being adaptable. Thank you so much for your contribution, Grace.
Absolutely. I got Uche from Just, that's in Plateau State. Uche says, the economic situation has forced me to reevaluate my priorities and focus on what's truly important, right? I've had to let go of non-essential expenses and focus on building a safety net for the future. Thanks for your comments, Uche.
Right, let's take this last comment. This is Femi from Lagos. Femi says, I've had to find ways to increase my income, such as taking on a side hustle or pursuing additional education or training. This has required me to be proactive and adaptable in the face of economic uncertainty. Having one job is not enough these days, as the economy is too hard on us. Talk about transportation, spending close to 5,000 naira every day for those of us working on the island. Calculate that in a month and see the amount. Let me ask again, how much is the salary? It is well
close to 5K every month, every day.
So 5 times, let's even say you work 5 days a week. 5 times 5, 25. 25 times 4 weeks in a month. So you're spending about 100,000 naira.
Gosh.
On transportation in a day, in a month rather. And imagine you're earning 150,000 naira.
Gosh, I can't even do the math.
Even if you're earning 200,000 naira, half of your salary goes for transportation. Okay, the other half, you sort out family needs.
How about feeding?
You sort out feeding, miscellaneous, you subscribe on your phone. You will sort out recharging your unit if you are using prepaid. Even if it's postpaid, you sort out electricity. You refill your gas. Our producer says you give your girlfriend money.
And if you're a man, how about grooming? You have to go to the barber's shop like
you need to also
week.
Buy personal needs, your body spray and whatever. You probably need to get some change of clothes or undergarments. You would have to buy. At the end of the day, you don't have anything left. And say, imagine you now have family, or you're the one catering to your siblings, your parents. You have to send some money home. Nothing.
You want to go
these
out
days,
on Fridays,
nobody goes out. How many people go out on Fridays these days? You know, in fact, you might have the money. Here's the thing. Sometimes you have the money. You can do it, right? But when you think of other person needs, I'll give a personal example. Last week, there was something I was craving for. And I had the money. I was like, you know, I even stood up, got into the car. I'm just going to get this thing. I started the car. I drove a little. No jokes. This is last week Sunday.
I know where this is going to.
I drove a little.
Oh my God.
I had the money. I now stopped somewhere on the road. I was like, okay. Months just started. If I buy this now, I need to buy this. I turned back home.
Sarah,
in fact, it has never happened to me like that before, because if I actually want to get
what Nigeria has done.
If I want to get something, I would get it, especially if I've been. I turned back. If I shut my mind, I said no.
You see, it's about what you decide within you.
It's actually these days, it's not as though people cannot still afford to. And sometimes you might just damn the consequences and say, whatever will happen, will happen.
Yeah.
This thing, I will do it. I will satisfy
Yeah.
Because you're working for the money.
You
see,
this thing we are laughing about, what Femi just said, he described it in very clear terms. Do you know that this kind of situation leads to mental wahala? You know, stress. This is a huge stressor because there are people who work on the island and live in Ikorodu.
You see people that do that thing, I always say it every day. I give them kudos.
Yeah.
When I was having my MSc program, I have a friend, still my friend. He stays at Mowe. His office is at Victoria Island. He leaves home sometimes 3:30, sometimes 4. Actually, that period where they were fixing the Lagos-Ibadan expressway, he gets to the office. He doesn't get home till 11:30 to 12. And then sometimes he has to, from work, he comes to school for classes, and we finish classes like 8:30, 9. He has to now start going to Mowe, get stuck in. There was a day I told him, I said, you know what, he's a married man with kids. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
You will break down. He barely sleeps for 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, and this person drives every day. So I tell them that thing a lot. You guys are doing a lot of work. There are people that also go by public transport. They'll tell you, I left Ibafo, I left Mowe 4 o'clock. Why? Yeah. How? Like, even for security reasons. And they get to the office, they're already tired. But honestly, we can only, as much as we pray, we wish to say, let us pray that Nigeria will be great again, things will be better. We also have a part to play as citizens.
So as we wrap this up, in the voice of Bishop Kukah, federal government, Nigerians are at breaking point. Do something. On that note, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
Big is in town. Something powerful and majestic. A mammoth creation destined to become a legend by all who encounter it. High Impact Planet. Nigeria's biggest family theme park, with facilities designed for friends, families, or large groups under a relaxing atmosphere. Be welcomed by wowing displays of animatronics, thrill out with realistic arcade games, or enjoy a number of thrilling hot racing park rides. Experience the 5D and 12D cinemas, and challenge your mates with bumper cars and go-kart races. Don't forget to slide into the ice rink, or simply take time out to enjoy a pizza at our delightful restaurant and dessert spot, or at the exquisite club lounge. High Impact Planet, 12 Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo, opposite MFM Prayer City. Visit high-impactplanet.com for details and inquiries. Fun just got real.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe. This is the segment where we touch on very topical issues. And this morning we'll be talking about the effect of political instability on economic stability. That's a very interesting one there, I must say. To kick off with, political instability significantly impacts economic stability and economic development. Now, it can lead to investor confidence loss as investors become wary of the future and withdraw their capital, resulting in a decline in foreign direct investment. Now, this is crucial for economic growth and development. Investors are more likely to invest in stable political environments where their assets are less likely to be expropriated or subject to arbitrary policy changes. Political instability also creates a climate of macroeconomic uncertainty, making it difficult for businesses and households to make long-term investment and spending decisions. Frequent changes in government policies can lead to policy volatility, erode investor confidence, discourage investment, reduce consumption, and hinder economic growth. Like I said earlier, the topic for discuss today is the effect of political instability on economic stability, and joining us to have this conversation is our guest, Folusho Olapo. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Folusho Olapo.
Yes, good morning, Amazons. You are so beautiful. It appears you are not in Nigeria. I should come out.
I'm in the same Nigeria with you.
You guys are eating though.
I'm in this same Nigeria. Good morning with you. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Like we said,
you are welcome. Good morning this morning.
We're discussing.
And good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning. We're discussing political instability and the role it plays on political stability. Let's kick off. Now, in what ways does political instability affect the government's ability to implement and sustain long-term economic policies?
Well, thank you very much, milady. Everyone knows that where an unsettled place, it's not a place to live in. Even in the family, there's this Yoruba adage that says,
what does that mean?
If the home, yes, if the home is toxic, the community will look like a jungle. Yes, but if you have a very sweet home, that is when you'll be able to, relate with everybody sweetly. You don't need to frown your face. You don't need, because the home is good. So that if the home is not good and you do not know what you are expecting, when you get back home, maybe after the day's work, then again, you might not be too productive at work. You might not be too friendly at work. Your mind will not be settled at work. So if we can use that macro social arena to look at a country, now it is then you know that where there is an instability in the country, of course it will have a very negative effect even on the economy. For instance, like the effect that reeled out, it is much of concern, especially because I think during the military regime, and because of the volatility of the political economy then, because one military officer might be in power today, then there will be a coup and a counter coup and other. So we see that the glory of this country waned throughout that military era. And in fact, if it were how we started in the First Republic, the military did not, truncate that by today, then they were already calling Nigeria a giant in the sun. Now we call ourselves a giant of Africa, meaning we have even reduced ourselves. Maybe today we are just a giant in the on papers.
Wow.
But then, because your gas is here from here, your cars is here, is made in Nigeria. All the parts of your cars, they are made in Nigeria. Your everything made in Nigeria. So we were thriving. And the military came. What did they do? They truncated it just because there were conflicts. amongst the political leaders. And since then, the country was killed. And because of that suicide, of that murder against this country, we are not able to find our feet since then. Because everything went reversal.
Right.
We are from the country that was negotiated, because Nigeria is a negotiated country.
Okay.
To a country that was made to be a unitary set of federalism, which cannot work. And that is why, because of the foundation created by political instability, then the country today is not working. Because if the foundation is faulty, says the good book, what can the righteous do? So anyone, there was a time, former President Olusegun Obasanjo said, even if Jesus Christ himself come to this country, he will fail.
Wow.
And that is because of the fact that the foundation of this country is faulty.
Let me come in here.
According to... Okay.
Yeah, so you're talking about an institution that doesn't work, right? You remember under the... what's it called? Maradona, Ibrahim Babangida. The government had come up with something called structural adjustment program. Nigeria now changed it to stomach adjustment program, SAP, right? Because of instability. Now, this is my question. What are the short and long-term effects of currency volatility, which is triggered by political instability, particularly in developing economies, beg your pardon, like our country, Nigeria?
You see, a very good example that I have given is that of Maradona. Why the structural adjustment program in the first place? Nigeria as a country was booming.
Yeah.
We have the money. We have the resources. We even gave monies to other African countries to pay the salary of their workers. You know, spending money is not our problem. Making money is not our problem. It is how to spend it, according to General Gowon in his time. So we have the money. So why should we now adjust? Why should somebody in his right senses just decided to deregulate our currency? And that is because, like we said, and one of the things the youth of today does not know or do not know is that military regime is not better. In fact, it's worse off than democratic regime at all times. Babangida told Nigerians that he was going to collect IMF loan. In fact, we do not need it in the first place. Nigeria can even give monies to IMF to loan it to other nations if they want. But Mr. President, Nigeria tried everything they could and everything. Mr. President, as a military ruler, then went behind all Nigerians and got that loan. And one of the clauses in the agreement is that we should do the value of our naira. And he did. So everything went skyrocketing. In fact, there was a romance between hardship and the sky among Nigerians. Things were just going to the sky like nothing. So it happens then, and that is what every ruler of Nigeria after that, I did not say leader, because we do not have leaders in Nigeria. We have rulers.
That's a strong
one. And that is what they have been doing since that Babangida regime.
That's a strong one. But
so
let me come in here. Let me come in here. You know, we have a lot of things to talk about, and because of our time, we need to, you know, move very swiftly. A lot of times these things happen. We cannot overemphasize sometimes the role of international bodies in cases like this. So I'd like to put this to you, Folosho Olakpo. What role can international organizations as well as foreign governments, we've seen them interfere or communicate or talk about issues in our climate over the years, what role can they play in mitigating the economic consequences of political instability, particularly in developing countries like Nigeria?
if I have to be sincere with you, especially from feelers from IMF and everything, I will say nothing. They have not been helpful. All they have been doing is to ensure that Nigerian resources resources of developing countries are taken back to them almost free of charge. So they helped kill our refineries today, and they will be the one that will first shouting. For instance,
when you say they help kill our refineries, can we clarify that clearly? What exactly do you mean?
That is what I want to say. Why they told us to remove subsidy? Why they told us to remove subsidy from almost everything the Nigerian masses are enjoying? Developed countries, including US, China, Japan, and almost France, almost all the European countries, subsidize. In fact, China's subsidy to energy alone is more than the whole budget of all the countries in Africa put together.
Yeah.
America subsidize food, and they subsidize energy. And what are they telling us here? And these are the fathers of IMF and the World Bank. But they are telling African leaders to remove subsidies. What is the meaning of that? Is that not double dealing? Why they are encouraging their own people to subsidize basic things so that life will not be difficult for their people? They are telling our own government, and which are very gullible too. African governments are very gullible. They take everything thrown at them by the white. Not until that's why I said we do not have leaders. Not until we have statesmen. It is not because you are in government that you are a statesman. No, it's not because of that. It is because a statesman is a person that loves his country more than himself and that can give himself for the country. So they will ensure that every life and property are protected before they will do anything to make sure the populace eat before they eat. But we have that here. There's this book, Leaders Eat Last. If you read it, you will know the basis of leader. But that title alone shows you who a leader is. But our own leader here, they have the best houses, they have the best cars, they do not buy food or drugs or anything. In fact, if they hit their legs, if they hit their feet toe against stone, they travel abroad to treat it. But you and I doesn't have that luxury. In fact, it was on paper today that the cost of drugs has risen to almost 1,000%.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? So to me, with what IMF and almost all the foreign governments are doing against against African countries, I do not think they have anything to offer us. What we should do as Africans is to look inward. And begin to develop at our own pace and at our own way, the way we seem fit. Let us domesticate our own democracy. Let us domesticate our own type of economy. For instance, inflation is fewer money chasing higher good or something like that. That doesn't apply in Nigeria. There's foodstuff everywhere. Yes, there's foodstuff. Even when you go and less money, so it is less money chasing good. It is there are the good products everywhere, but even the money you have cannot even afford one of them. So most of the time, the definition economists gave to us when we were in school do not work. So we need to do a rework. We need to go back to the basics. We need to look inwards as Africans and look at how we can develop our own nation in a way that will suit us and in a way that will not create any hardship to anybody. In fact, a way that everyone will be able to breathe.
Let me come in here. What you just said is re-echoing exactly what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said about coming up with Afro-democracy. a system of government that will suit Nigeria. But quickly though, just in 30 seconds, let me ask this question, and I hope you answer in 30 seconds. Under former President Muhammadu Buhari, when people they were prophesying, including foreign powers, that Nigeria was going to split. Former President Muhammadu Buhari said if Nigeria splits today, then the world will be in trouble because of the population of Nigeria. So my question is, can political instability in one country have significant regional or global spillover effects in other countries? 30 seconds.
Of course, a lot. We know what happened in Ghana. When they have to come to Nigeria in droves, and we know what is happening in Nigeria now. Of course, there might be a seeming political stability, but because nothing is stable here today in Nigeria, and that's why people are living in droves, and it's affecting those other countries. We see them saying, for instance, the UK government said they do not want people that are coming to study in their place to come with their families anymore.
Yeah.
So, yes, meaning that they are being shocked by the number of people coming from Africa, especially Nigeria. So what is in essence is that if these European countries and foreign countries knew that they were going to be bombarded, then they should have supported Africa in making Africa to be Africa. But of course, again, they know, but they needed cheap labor too. So if you have to run away from your country to another country and you're offered a peace dance, so you won't have any other alternative than to accept it, because in fact in the first place you're an alien. If you don't want it, to go back to your country. But of course they won't do that, and it's not even advisable. Many of them are sleeping in gutters and everywhere there. We read what is happening on social media. They prefer to sleep in those places than coming back to Nigeria.
Right. You know, that's a very good place to end this conversation. Would have continued, but our time is fast spent. Thank you so much, Folusho Olakpo, for sharing your thoughts with us on how political instability affects economic stability. It's been a delight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, beautiful Amazons, for having me. I think I should move into Lagos to stay with you, so that I can be eating this thing here.
All right, we'll be expecting you in Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye. Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Yeah. You know, we had some other questions to ask, but our time is fast spent. But we're able to get one or two things from Folusho Olakpo in regards to how an unstable political climate can affect a stable economic climate. Apparently, it's like a ripple effect. One would definitely affect the other, and the other can affect the other.
You know the example he gave when in Ghana there was political instability, and lots of Ghanaians had to come into Nigeria. At some point, Nigerians began to campaign for Ghana must go. Yeah. They wanted the Ghanaians to go back because they felt they were taking their jobs. But you know, I think we'll wrap it up on this particular segment because we still have lots more, and the time is just flying like there's no tomorrow. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
The more we want everything free, the more it becomes expensive to develop. That's it. It's difficult. So good roads here. I want to emulate and reflect it back home. I want our children to be in good schools, not in tattered huts and dilapidated classrooms. You make teaching interesting and make business flourish. One economic action leads to another. It is in your hand to build our nation. My own is to provide the leadership that is necessary, and I'm committed to that. It's not all about politics. If you are afraid of taking the hard decision when it is time to do it, you probably will not be able to build a national consensus any day, anytime. So take action when it is necessary. We will do that. I promise you good governance.
And that was Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu. You know, he made a comment and he had people clapping their hands perfunctorily, and I'm like, gosh, why? And then the producer was saying maybe I should clap my hands as well. I was like, more like, okay, let me not say the word that's on my mind. But this is what he said, right? That you can have leadership if you are not able to make very tough decisions. He made some very beautiful points that sounds good as theories, right? Yeah, and I'm thinking you want to make Nigeria as developed as the other developed countries. How do you do that when you have a very unhappy polity like what happened in Libya? Let me come back to Sarah. Let's find out what Sarah has to say regarding this.
When I saw the video, when the producer shared the video, I just knew I wasn't going to have a lot of things to say. Yeah, but the president said, okay, I promise you good governance. For things to be smooth, they'll first be, he used a certain word. And it's not different from what we've heard him say in all the addresses that he has, you know, given to the nation. And like you said, it has been more of theories, but what the practicals that we are seeing is not commensurate with what he's saying. So maybe we need to do less of talking and let our works, because these works that we are seeing, they are talking as well, but they are hitting hard on us, the people. So you want to give us good governance, you want the children to go to good schools, you want healthcare system to be working. Let's not have the words say, let's see the results. Let the works speak for themselves and not the words. I don't have anything different from that to say, because I think I'm already used to the president's national address.
So this sounds like a broken record to you, right? But the thing is, we have lots of economic analysts who had said President Tinubu is audacious, that he came up with economic reforms that others did not have the guts to do.
Some are saying that we'll see these reforms pay off.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually.
In
but
the long
when
term.
Is the eventual?
Maybe after half of
year,
Nigerians
maybe by yes, last year was 2024. Maybe by 2026. We'll see these things, because you know, it makes everything easier when these things are being rolled out and people are happy. A lot of people are unhappy.
You get the point.
That's the thing. So if your people are unhappy, how do these words match up anything? But let's take some of the comments that we have. Let's take some of the comments that we have. This is God's Gift Multimedia, and this person says, my question here is there anything free government is doing for Nigerian citizens? We build our house, dig our well, pay for our electricity bill, send ourselves to school, or get a skill. We pay indirect taxes like the Agbero. and many more. So what is free to Nigerians? Is government in power that's enjoying the free facilities than the citizens? Nothing free in Nigeria. We could see what is going on in Burkina Faso. The judge will says, Mr. President, you grew up in Nigeria where education was free, water was running, people enjoyed stress, less travels around Nigeria and the world. Even though we had some lapses, things were not this bad. Please, Mr. President, do the needful so citizenry will be happy. Sir, we don't need dollars anymore for petrol as we used to import, but now we have a refinery that is refining the product in our nation. So the price of PMS should crash. I beg, hunger day. That's the thing. Most of these people at the helm of affairs, they experienced, if not all, a lot of benefits. Education was free. You know, things were easier. Insecurity wasn't this terrible. Life was easier then.
And he had a booming agricultural sector.
So now that they are at the helm of affairs, everything just took a flip.
But the last comment you read, there's something germane. He said that the government, what's his name? Our president is saying, President Tinubu is saying, when you give something free, it's not easy to develop. But our last comment, the person who, our last contributor said, the people who are enjoying free stuff are those ones up there. Yeah. They have entertainment allowance, they
hardship
have
allowance. And I'm asking myself, what hardship are they experiencing exactly? What is the hardship they're experiencing? They have hardship allowance. Why? From where to where?
Exactly.
The people that are even experiencing,
they don't get their allowance.
I just want
and then he said Nigerians dig their well, they buy their generations. Nigerians do practically everything. There's nothing free for Nigerians, right? So maybe the president will want to redo his mathematics. Just saying.
I don't have any words again. But that's it on our trending segment this morning. Let's give you weather forecast for today.
Now, be sure to take what you just saw seriously. The weather forecast, they're true. It happens, I'm telling you. But this is where we get a draw the curtain on today's edition of the Breakfast Cafe. I got to say thanks to everyone that contributed to making the show a success. But a bigger thanks to you for watching and calling in. We do appreciate it. Until I come your way again, I am Vivian Uguche. Have a fantastic day ahead.
And do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms at High Impact Studios, High Impact TV, and The Breakfast Cafe. Do not forget that we are also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X at High Impact TV. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and until I grace your screens next time, enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
you.